Ha.
Oh.
Hello. Welcome to
walking.
episode 7 of On the Back Hash, where we talk about all things pageantry arts. And apparently it's hot in Seattle.
Oh my goodness, I will be waiting all day with you. It is ridiculously hot up here. It makes no sense. It should be illegal to be this high. Why? I don't know.
It probably is
Like,
somewhere.
this isn't fashion. This is to hold the sweat.
There you
You
go.
think I'm lying? Otherwise, I'd be naked, but that would be a different type of show.
Wait.
Yeah, we can't really put that on YouTube.
That's a different website.
And
That's a different website.
And even if it's audio, we probably can't put it on Spotify.
No.
But
I can hear the nakedness.
Yeah, it's too much.
We have violated
Too
the
much.
rules of the Spotify community.
Yeah, we might get flagged just for saying the word naked right now. So I don't know. But I digress. Hello, and like I said, welcome to episode 7 of On the Back Hash, where we talk all things pageantry arts. And right now we're hot in the middle. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't probably use the word hot. Sorry. We're deep in the middle of the DCI season. So I'm joined, as always, with my buddy Will, Chris, and Zach. So today we're going to kind of dig into this past weekend show, kind of focus in on the Atlanta show a little bit and what happened there. We may talk about the Night Beat show as of the time of this recording. They're about to wrap up, so we might get some, I'll put quotes, live scores update in the middle of the podcast, maybe towards the end, about that and how all that's going to play. We're going to have some viewer questions for you. We have some folks on Facebook and Twitter ask us some questions, so that's going to be kind of a good chunk of the discussion that we have about things today. And we're going to do a little different segment also today, stock rising, stocks up, stocks down. Just kind of give a real quick thought about where we think everybody is headed going into the last regular season weekend of the drum chorus season. So lots of things to talk about. Before we get started, as always, don't forget to nominate your favorite chorus for their awards via Drum Corps Circle. We'll put the form link down below, and we need to put it on the Facebook page. So we're going to make sure that's up there too. I think they're taking nominations for another week and a half, or maybe about another week by the time this comes out. Get to vote on your favorite drum major, field commander. Oh, that is the same thing. Front ensemble, social media, vocalist, all types of things, and your voice can be heard. And I like it because we're giving some recognition to some unsung heroes of the drum corps world. Mm-hmm. So make sure you get your vote on. If you're one of those that likes the Intermission Drum and Bugle Corps social media outlet, there you go. You can vote for them. That's probably what I'm going to vote for real. I haven't voted yet. So, all right. So let's go ahead and dig in from our one to watch, which was the Southeastern Championship, also lovingly known as the Atlanta Regional. Not all of the world-class chords were there, but we had a good chunk, and we can pull a few things from there. So we're going to do a real quick rundown of placements, how that went down. We may dig into some things a little bit, but we're not going to get too bogged down into it. I know we got heavy last week, which was, some people appreciated it, and but I'm going to try to keep it light with the numbers because not everybody's a number geek like I am. So starting with the, listen, I love numbers. Starting with the all-age class, we had the Atlanta Corvettes score a 72.9 in their category. And in open class, Heatwave was second with a 59.3, and Gold with a strong return after being out for about a week or so with COVID issues, coming back pretty strong with a 70.3. So Gold, it's really enjoyable to watch.
It's a good show. It's a great show.
So we may talk about open class a little bit later because might be some shocks coming in the semifinals.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Moving on to world class. And 13th was Genesis with a 72.450. 12th place was Music City with a 75.850. The Academy was 11th with a 76.8. The Madison Scouts finished 10th with a 77.55. Then a huge gap, 8.2 or 8.15 if you be in particular. There will be somebody in the comments. It was exactly one.
Excuse me, sir. You're not right on that.
Yeah.
According to the order, 0.15.
Yeah. So,
I don't know
so from there, ninth, right? ninth place was Mandarins with an 85.9. Eighth place was Phantom Regiment with an 85.950. Right in front of them, a little bit, about a half a point up in front of them, was the Cavaliers in seventh with an 86.450. Sixth place, Blue Stars with an 87.850. In fifth place, Santa Clara Vanguard, first score to break 90 at the show with a 90.950. Blue Coats was fourth with a 92.225. In third place was Carolina Crown with a 93.050. Second place, Boston Crusaders with a 93.875. And the Southeast Champions of Atlanta was the Blue Devils with a 94.050. So, thoughts, guys, about what you saw. Let's start with, so we're all not talking at the same time because we will do that. Will, you're the first one on my screen, so there you go. Will, what are your thoughts?
Basically, I'm impressed with, I don't know what the word would be, tenacity maybe, Boston, and
That's a good word for it.
Yeah, their drive to, really shake things up and close the gap on Blue Devils, and I mean they're giving it their show. They're really giving it. Who else? What was I saying? I was shocked that Crown got back over on Blue Coats, but it's so weird. I noticed some cleaner spots, but I was like, I don't know. I think people are still confused a little on the whole GE aspect of things. I think that's still an issue in a lot of cases, But
that's a discussion that we can have probably later about that, because that's gonna. Yeah. That really seems like that's going to be the thing that dictates what happens in Indy.
I mentioned that when I did went live on Facebook before the Murphy Girl show about how GE is literally, I think, going to decide almost everything. That's literally where it's going to reside. And said you've been saying it since the beginning. Whatever judge decides what they like, that's going to be the course going to win. So,
yeah,
it's such a I don't even know how to put it. Like, such a crazy caption. Like, it's like the most understood caption. I think it has so many avenues for interpretation.
Well, it's such a gray area. Music and visual, it's very black and white. It's either this or it's this. It's either clean or it's not.
That's what it feels
GE
like.
Is just,
It's different from core to core. It's different from judge to judge.
Spectators and all of it, man. It's like, man, I want them to just be, even though it is straight for them, possibly, they got to understand and know how to do the judges sheets and all that kind of stuff. But for everybody else, maybe it shouldn't be such a broad, or give off such a broad idea for a caption that seems that it should be straightforward as well.
Well, and that's the thing, when you talk about the word, just the word in general, like not even in relation to the pageantry arts, but effect, what affects us is different. Let's talk, like, to use the analogy, and I don't even watch scary movies, but let's just talk about scary movies, right? Mm-hmm. But there's kind of two types of scary movies. There's like, and maybe more, Will, you can probably speak to this more, but like, to me, there's like the jump scares type of stuff. Mm-hmm. There's suspense, there's like gore. So there's different ways that you can scare somebody. Well, there are some people that like suspense movies, but don't like a lot of gore.
Yeah.
And so depending on their taste in it, they may think that, well, this scary movie is really scary, but this one ain't scary at all.
Right.
And that's kind of what we're dealing with here. Is the basis of it is, and you know, I think they use the box system as well. You know, the coordination things have to be there, and the difficulty has to be there, and then the achievement has to be there for them to get this baseline score. But once we start getting into like the 90 range, like when we started having to put down a 9 first, between 9 and 10, it really does get subjective. It really is like, what do you like, and not only what do you like, but what do you understand?
Right.
A good buddy of ours, you know, said it early in the season, and he said the vertical alignment that it takes to pull off the Blue Coat show is outstanding. But you may not see that if you're too busy trying to figure this out. Are you too busy trying to get this show to fit into your idea of what general effect is? And I mean, if you look at the recap, and I just scanned through it real quick, and, you know, you got different judges placing them all in different places, which is good for parody, which is, you know, is what you want. I don't think you should, especially with the type of shows that we're getting. You know, if you look at the top 4, they're all different types of shows. They really are. You know, BD does it their way, and Blue Coats is doing it their way, and Boston is doing it their way, and so is Crown. There are 4 different types of shows. So so when you're comparing things with that close of a number, it's going to be some preference stuff. I mean, they've busted out the half a points early.
Yeah, they have.
Normally, you don't see halves. Normally, you don't see those half points until you know, finals week. But I mean, don't be shocked if they. I don't know if they can, because I don't know if they're allowed to. But I wouldn't be shocked if you started seeing .25s.
I mean, this is something we could talk. Another topic we could talk on like later on, like when when the doldrums of the in between. But like that's interesting to talk about. Like where do you start splitting stuff, and like or do you get more specific with effect? Like, are we about to get to that part of drum corps now? You know, that's going to be interesting. I want to spend like a whole hour on that because I think
you could literally talk for that long because there's so many points. There's so many ideas and thoughts behind it. So yeah,
that's lots of things. That what's your takeaways from Atlanta?
My takeaways from Atlanta. I'll really not just Atlanta. I'll talk about my takeaway from Friday night at Murfreesboro as well. Of course, me and Chris were both there. My eye goes like this Music City show. Like I can kind of see them closing that gap on Academy a little bit. I don't know if they'll get ahead of them, but I think there's a lot more, like their ceiling is higher than Academy's right now. So I'm kind of keeping my eyes on that, like because I mean, I feel confident saying that this will be the best finish Music City's ever had. I don't know what their highest placement's ever been, but I definitely feel like this season is their best one they've had, especially since they went world class. But you know that little matchup down there, and then honestly, just I don't know. I appreciated some of the shows a lot better in person than I have through the stream, which I mean, you obviously are going to. But like,
I say that all the time.
There was one moment specifically, and I've talked about this with you all already, but with the Blue Stars show that I noticed something, and it just really, like, I was like, that's what they're doing.
When you texted me that, dude, I was like, oh my God. Like, are you serious right now?
Because we were down in front pretty close. Like, I said it when we were there, like, Music City, we were in their speakers because they were just right in front of our faces. But it allowed me to see with Blue Stars, like the moment I'm talking about is there's a moment when they have all the tables over on the left side and there's the duet happening, but all the members that are in that part of the field are all females, and they all have the uniform that's got the skirt on the bottom. And then you look on the right side of the field, and it's like all of the male members of the Corps are in like military style blocks going toward the back right corner of the field. And it's like, this is when the men leave the women at home and go off to war. And then soon after that is when the war part happens. And then they come back home at the end. And like, I never noticed that on a screen. And then when I saw it, I was like, I get it. Like, just something that, and
I wouldn't
I
ever
know.
Now that you said it, and it's crazy stuff like that. Like sometimes, I guess it depends on who it is or what the show is or whatever. It sucks that you might have to get someone to explain it to you like that, because sometimes the excitement of like watching movies or something like that is you figuring it out while you watch it or whatever. But now that you said that, I'm like kind of pumped to watch them to see that moment.
Yeah.
You see where I'm going with it?
When I put it together, I was like, I don't know if that's what they mean for us to get from this part, but that's what I took away from it. And that really kind of just tied some loose ends with it for me. And I mean, I could keep talking about other groups too. I don't know, just from start to finish, the energy around that BD show, like, it's just nonstop. And I'm not because they're moving and running and playing all these notes, but there was a different feel in the air when they played. And then there was a totally different feel that was still awesome when Boston was on too. It's like Boston almost sucked all the air out of the world, and you just were lost.
It's two different shows, two different feels, two different ideas.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, like, in person is definitely going to be better than
for sure.
Streaming. But I also say, when you can get a group who can make you feel alive through a stream, they're doing something special.
Yep.
They're doing something special. I said that last year, or not last year, but this year about Rhythm X and Indoor. I was like, it don't make no sense that I get this feeling from watching y'all through a screen. What, like, stop, you know? But I've been like that with Boston all year. It's like, Jesus, man, this show, Blue Devils 2, and it's just.
I mean, obviously in person's always going to be better, but now that I finally
real pumped to see it,
felt it, go Chris.
Oh, okay. Hand off the baton. All right. I was just listening, man. I'm going to kind of combine, because like I said, I was at Murfreesboro, and then I watched Atlanta. But two big things, and then I won't spend too long on it. But there were two cores at the Murfreesboro show. They were also at Atlanta that I felt just had such a warm sound, but like was so enjoyable, and it wasn't just in your face constantly, but they could get to that moment where they needed it to be, and that was the Blue Devils, of course, and then the Blue Stars. Like, man, Blue Stars, man, I'm telling you, dude, I'm telling you, man, that might be my favorite show of the year, because it's so good. Like, I don't know what it is about it, and like, I've always been a Blue Stars fan, but I've never like. This is the one show I've actually watched. It's like, man, that's so good. And then when you go see it live, like their sound, like every single person has this. I don't know how to explain it. Like you have to listen to it live. But like everyone's so controlled, and when they need to get loud, they get loud. And Blue Stars has done that in the past. That's they do those things. But like them and Blue Devils were so controlled with that. And if Blue Stars can clean up the opener portion of their show, it might be a spicy take or a bold prediction. I don't know. We might see it. I don't know if they have the time to do it, but Cadets might be a battle, man. I'm just going to say, because like, I'm telling you, dude, there's something about that show just
excellent.
They do so well, but like, Cadets might come out there and no, we're done. Whatever. That's the first thing. The second thing that I'm interested in is 2, 3, 4 Boston, Crown, and Bluecoats. Like that whole area. And I don't put BD in there because BD is kind of they don't have a big gap, but there's a gap there. But what are those three cores going to do to try to stay in medal contention? Because honestly, Boston, yeah, Blue Devils. I
Somebody got
think
to be
they're
out.
going to medal this year. I don't think it's just a prediction. Boston is like almost there, but like Crown and Coats, man, like what are they going to have to do? Like, does Crown have something else that they can add to that show that's going to push them to the top? If you look at the scores, Crown was and Blue Coats were all over the place when it came to placements, and so like what that and I mean even if honestly if you look at the top four, they're kind of everywhere. Blue Devils is more consistent with it, but what who's going to finally going to balance that out? What do they have left in the tank?
Who's gonna be able to separate
Yeah,
themselves?
that's the thing, I, which we'll talk about later on. I don't want to give stuff away, but like I'm just really interested in those positions and what's going to happen there. So that's kind of my big two takeaways from there because they're battling each other out with that. So there you go.
Yeah, it's a whole lot to take away from
Come on, Blue
this
Stars,
past weekend.
do it.
That that parody
Yeah.
that we wanted, and we were afraid. Honestly, after San Antonio, we were afraid because the gap
Yeah.
for
It
Blue
seemed-
Devils was so
Seemed
huge.
so cut and dry, and then a week later, it's flip a coin on virtually every.
Dude, one of my
Anybody.
favorite things right
Yeah.
now, I'm a big Reddit person, right? And the subreddit for one of the ones I follow for DCI, it's so funny. Because, like, everyone, like you're talking, wanted parody all this time, and then as soon as it happens, everyone's like, well, I don't think that's supposed to be how it's going, blah, 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 blah. And, like, now they hate it. It's like, well, what do you want? Do you want the parody portion, or you want we already know who the top 12 is going to be every single year,
Yeah.
It's just really funny.
Well, people won't parody until it affects the group that they like.
Ding, 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 ding.
That part.
You said a mouthful.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying.
Right,
you
and
know,
that was
it's-
episode
until it-
7. Thank you all for joining us.
We out.
We'll catch y'all
See you
next
later.
week.
I mean that's just what it is. It's in sports. I mean, if your team's in the middle of the pack and you're just like, man, I'm getting tired of the same team winning, and then your team
Yep.
starts winning, and you're like, no, we don't. No, it's okay. Everybody else can stay. That's not how that works. Like, either you want competition or you don't, and like you. And for entertainment, because it's a competitive thing, and it is what it is. But like, if for entertainment purposes, you want everybody to be at the top of the game, and like as a DCI, you can't call yourself a DCI fan and not like what you're seeing and hearing this year. You can't. Like I don't.
If you are not,
It's hard to be just so selective.
if you are not cheering, maybe not audibly, but if you are not in your heart wanting some of these groups to pull off what they possibly could be doing in Indy, then you're in this activity for the wrong reason. Like, if you are not silently pushing Colts into 12th place in your head, or hoping Blue Stars can catch Cadets, or hoping Mandarins can stay ahead of Cavaliers, like, if you are not latching onto some of these groups that are doing things that they're not normally doing in this season and wanting that for them, then yeah.
My biggest thing is I'm appreciating the banter. Like, it's so much differentness. Like if you almost look at it, if I'm not mistaken, out of the top 4, I'm sitting up here looking, out of the top 4, all top 4 percussions have beat each other.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like that, in that alone, the only surefire one that I've seen so far now, I think, is Boston has always won guard at everything. I don't think their guard has gotten beat at anything, but that percussion though, That's big time. That's a big deal. All top four groups right now have at least one percussion over each other at a show. And now it's like, okay.
Yeah, because when Blue Coats won drums at
Murfreesboro.
Friday night in Murfreesboro,
that hurt a
now,
lot of souls. I know it did.
Now, granted, SCV didn't play, or they played, but they didn't get scored.
They didn't.
Still, though, the fact that the fact that Blue Coats beat both BD and Boston.
Yeah.
And Boston. I know there was a whole lot of folks be like, oh, well, that was wrong and blah. I can
you call it like you see it, man.
I'm telling you.
You call it like you see it.
And I'm telling you, and I think that whoever judged it, because I can't remember who it was, but it's like, I feel like sometimes, I don't, I'm hoping it's not, but you feel like maybe somebody's playing favoritism, because you're looking at it and you're watching, it's like, okay, this is it. At least today, at this show, that hit. Can they have the proper score for what they just did? And when you're looking at it as not a fan, and you're trying to be like in that box and say, they're firing on all cylinders. Y'all have got to give
that Blue Coats run on Friday night was somebody else.
Because I know I joked with us sometimes, and I said, okay, Blue Devils going on third. Can they still get first going on third? Because sometimes you're thinking about, okay, is it the placement of where somebody's going? Because clearly BD shut that idea down. But it's like, can you really say with Boston going on last, BD going on third, BD still winning? Because it's like,
but it was close. It
was very
and
close.
Just kind of tell you this on this percussion thing. I'm going to read the content scores for the top 5. Just content. 94.
Is this Atlanta?
This is Atlanta. 9.4, 9.35, 9.3, 9.25, 9.2.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I'm excited.
Like,
by the way.
like for real. Like that is now the achievement scores had a little bit of a gap, but those top 5 perk groups, I don't know what's going to happen finals week. Not one, like, if I get bored, I might sit down and figure out who's judged, get the judges' scores for each group throughout the season and see how that works, and then see who's judging finals. Because that's going to be your best indicator, if anything. And who's dirty.
Because if you're looking at this right now from Atlanta, somebody would just say, well, SCV just had a bad night.
Yeah, because they were fourth.
How are you going to win content one and fourth? And fourth in achievement. That's all somebody's going to say. And then they're going to go back to, well, SCV will be back on top. That's all it was. Is it, though? Now, I know I spoke about content for Boston before, but
we can get to we'll talk about percussion later, because that's its own conversation. But yeah, it's in all the captions almost, except for color guard. Even brass is getting like tight and subjective on who's judging it that night.
Mm-hmm.
It's
his crown just got mad.
We're gonna have to do a recap. We're gonna have to do a recap episode.
Y'all got that's
on Monday. All right, so if we start talking about the recap and digging into it, we're gonna be here for another hour again. So, so we're gonna keep moving. So, we're gonna spend the next little bit of time answering some viewer questions. We had some viewer questions going, and so we're gonna discuss those. We have some good ones. Since we were kind of talking about percussion a little bit, we're going to start with a question that kind of deals with that. For our buddy, John Woods, he asked, when will Boston overtake Blue Devils? And he said, what will it take for Crown's percussion to break into the top three? If they can do that, the top three is getting really, really tight. So let's answer that first question first. So that's not a percussion-based question, but in general, what do we think it'll take for Boston to overtake BD, Chris? What do you think?
Sorry, I've been a little distracted. What just happened? Anyway, we'll talk about that here in a second. But I think for Boston to overtake BD, it has to come in the music caption. Either music analysis or brass has to be better for them. Because I feel like right now that's where the most, they can have the most room. I mean, and then also, you can throw in general effect again too. I mean, that's another one that needs to be there for them. It's all really close, but like I said, actually, I'll take that back. At Atlanta, Blue Labels beat Boston in music, so never mind. I mean, Boston beat BD in music. Sorry, that's what I meant. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Sorry, it's we're all over the place right now because that crap just happened. Yeah, just put it away.
Just gonna let that
put a tab
for a minute.
But I just think
don't finish what you were saying.
The brass books got to be really good for them, and then GE has to be strong for them to come over. Because when I watch BD's show, I even mentioned it. It makes me so aggravated. I love this BD show, but Boston and them are two different things. You have the technical side of things with Boston in your face, and then BD just got these big power chords that just sound sounds so good, and they're beating people with it. So, that where do you make up that room? I think it's gonna be brass and then GE somewhere. So, there we go.
I think some of the stuff that most people these days get upset about with BD and them winning so much is it comes down to why. I don't want to go into GE and everybody's different interpretation of GE, but I think people are loving so many other shows and feel like they like Blue Coast. People love Blue Coast probably more than they do BD. As much respect as they're probably giving BD, you're not going to be able to tell them that BD show entertains them more than Blue Coast. Yeah. You see where I'm kind of going with it? So it's like they want something that's actually entertaining them on that kind of level and to actually win. It's like saying you would rather watch the Green Lantern over a
No, let's be honest with you. That movie sucked.
No, you don't.
So,
like a lot. Like a whole lot. Like he was kind of wrong for making that movie, but it's like that, you know what I'm saying? And here's the thing, it's not like a shot at BD or anything. I think that's how people are feeling. When you see such a cool show that you're so engaged into it, like you with Blue Stars, it's so entertaining. It's telling a story. They got all this going on. It's more than just playing or whatever, blah blah blah. And then BD wins, and then you get so mad because of that factor. It's like, why is that the only thing we care about now? I think people feel like that sometimes. That's why they get mad at BD so much. It's just an idea. It's not everybody, but I'm just speculating on why people get so upset about BD so much.
People get. It's just like in anything, any sport or any competitive activity. If somebody stays on top too long, they just want to see them. They watch to see people fall.
Exactly.
And so that's all it is.
Exactly.
All right. So, and to address the second question, what is it going to take Crown to do to finish and to tighten up the drums?
Not going to happen.
Crown. Well, see, and that's the sad thing about it, and not to diminish them or make them feel bad about it. I don't think Crown has the content enough this year, and possibly the hands this year to get them above fifth. I don't want to say it's set in stone, but it's almost set in stone that they'll probably be fifth in drums. I don't really see them getting too much lower, but their show may not have the room to get beefed up enough to where the kids can play it as clean. Because imagine Crown trying to just magically do what Boston is doing. It's going to hurt them. It's going to be even worse. So
change the drum book for them, and then it's going to get in the way of the horn book.
and that's the key too. That's the key. You can't.
I taught you well, Zach.
There's certain levels of beef, see? And there's certain levels of beef that you can get. And show design,
and the horn line playing 50,000 notes at the same time. You already have a problem with there being too much going on visually in your show with all the.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I've said before that could be some things that's been hurting Boston. It's because of that. It's just I appreciate it because I'm part percussionist, but in the end, I'm like it's a lot of notes, and I don't think people understand. Like I think a lot of people hearing these notes who may not be percussionists, but they're not understanding the small nuances that are happening in the low range of these notes that they're playing. In the low, like they're playing a lot of stuff at like 3 inches after you hear a regular paradiddle or stuff like that, like simple rudiments, and then you're getting a lot of tight notes written in between these beats, and Boston is chopping them out like it's nothing. And it's part of the things, like I think it's not leaving a whole lot of room for the horn line because it's such a massive feature for them.
Yeah,
but
for me, the what it boils down to is the show design is not leaving enough room to have both. Like it's very. Yep. That's why Vanguard is always so impressive to me because the way that they write. Yes, their battery plays, a lot of notes. But it synergizes with everything else that's going on. So.
And people have to. I don't want to turn this into a perk talk or whatever, but people gotta understand that there has to be a balance, and more notes and loud stuff does not equal winning. It does not equal winning. You have to have a balance. I'll leave it at this. It's called percussion, not drumline. People will not understand it. It's called percussion, not drumline. So if Boston, for some reason, does not win, you must understand that notion. But Crown, show design takes a lot. I've seen people make comments. It's like, why don't cadets percussion perform like Boston's percussion? It's a completely different show. Why would you have Boston, who's playing a more aggressive show, and have cadets drumline look like they're playing like robots? First of all, Boston's probably got to concentrate. They ain't got time to make faces and stuff like that. You make the wrong smile or whatever, you're gonna fall out of a whole phrase, But you can't compare that. It's two different shows. It's two different concepts. Cadets need to laugh. They need to have smiles and be big and everything because that's what their show design is about. Boston's isn't. It's like, come on. I'm gonna get hot. It's already hot in here.
Let's move on. So TLDR, basically, it would almost take a rewrite. It would almost take a rewrite. Some things would have to change from a design standpoint. And you don't see that. But you don't see that happening in Perk Book. So, all right.
But Crown keep pushing though.
They got other issues with percussion in my eye, but that can be another discussion. Mm-hmm. So, Jim Reed, avid follower of the podcast, he had a couple of questions for us, so we're going to dig into those a little bit. His first one is, will there be any new names in the top 5 the rest of the season? I'm going to go first.
Nope.
No.
Not at all.
No.
Not at all.
Yeah.
All right, unanimous.
Yeah.
Cadets are too far behind Vanguard.
Yeah.
And cadets don't have that cadet sparkle yet. It's coming back. It's definitely coming back, but I don't think they have enough. Now, I don't think cadets will fall out of 6, so either. I think they're just kind of in no man's land.
Well,
in my opinion.
When we get
I think
to
cadets are set at 6.
No.
Listen, I know you like. Here's the thing. I'm gonna tell you.
This show might go over an hour because
Guys, let's not talk about
we're going to have to talk about what happened tonight. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
All right.
That's all I'm going to say.
We'll talk about it.
I know.
All right. So that was one of his questions. His other question, I got 37 tabs open. His other question was, actually, he had way more than that. Another question he had: 6 through 10 is very competitive. How will that turn out?
To be determined.
Exactly. That seems to be your wheelhouse, 6 through 10. So, what do you think?
We might want to save that question for at the end.
Do we want to?
Let's postpone that one.
I'm about to say, do we want to postpone that one?
Okay. His next question was.
Right now.
Oh Lord! His next question was: do the troopers have a chance at final spot?
No.
I can go first on that.
Like the show, but
the groups are a little bit. The groups in front of them is just a little bit too polished and too refined. I like the troopers. I really do.
Yeah, I
but it's just
had some of these COVID issues that we've been dealing with the last 2 weeks. That gap wouldn't be as big. There'd still be a gap there, but I don't think it would be as large.
You think they would start to jump? They would start to jump Madison and Colts and Blue Knights. That's a tall order.
Preston, all of it.
And Academy.
It's a lot of
So
yes, Music City.
Okay.
Yeah. And no, they're beating all them.
Okay, sorry. My apologies.
Jeez. All right. Jeez. So yeah, but I not this year. Now, are they priming themselves for the future? Yes. But this year, I don't.
Told you I was hot.
What is we going through? This is why you guys that are just listening on Spotify should watch this on YouTube because, boy. All right, and his last question was: which open class corps will place above world class corps in prelims and semifinals?
Gold, Vanguard Cadets, and BD. All three of them, I think, will.
Go ahead.
I think Vanguard Cadets might be the one.
Might want to throw Spartans in. I don't know. I haven't seen them in a while, but
It's interesting.
I don't know.
I'm like Chris. I definitely got. I feel like Gold is going to tap a couple people, and the way Vanguard Cadets is playing, they have a real.
So for those that are not familiar, they take everybody goes to prelims, all world, all open. I think even international and all age if they want to go. So the prelims are open to everybody, and then they take the top 25 from there. Okay. Now there are only 18. I think there's 18 world class courses this year, maybe 19. So according to a chart put together, I think it's Drum Corps Down Under. Yeah. I think that's who I got before. Mm-hmm. What they do is they compile the scores and they rank them by most recent score. And then they tell you how much their score changed and then how much their position changed. I'm just going to read off 25 through 13. All right, 25 through 13. That's all I'm going to read off. Currently, right now, in 25th is the battalion. And these are groups that are going to Indy. The battalion would be scoring above Jersey Surf right now. So that's already one beat right there. Then you have Gold, 24th. Pacific Crest is sitting 23rd, Genesis 22nd, and then you have Guardians at 21st. So they just took out 2 other world-class groups. Spartans 20th, BDB, Blue Devils B at 19, Vanguard Cadets at 18, Music City 17, Academy 16, Scouts 15, Troopers 14, Colts 13.
Mhm.
Now, obviously, that's going to change after some recent events, but I think you're going to see several open class groups beat world class groups, and this is not common. I mean, not uncommon. Blue Devils B and Vanguard
Hell,
Cadets
wasn't
normally do it.
was
Spartans have
it
done it in the
BDB or
past.
Vanguard Cadets that
Um,
like I
Mhm.
don't say they got close to finals, but they were. I'm gonna
I
say
think
I
Vanguard
thought it was
Cadets
like
finished
it was up
15th
there.
one year. I
So
think.
yeah,
Don't quote me on that, but it was up there.
Well, actually,
The
it was.
last.
Just kidding.
Okay, I was like, if you know, good for you. Um, I think the last non-top, and I say non-top because this was happening when they were in the 3 divisions. Division 2 was Magic of Orlando back in the 90s. I think it's late 90s, either
Mhm.
late 90s or, but it was them. And I think they ended up finishing
dang, that's
like
cool.
Their
11 for
last year was
12.
5 year.
Yeah, with
Mhm.
the
Their last year was 03.
okay,
It
yeah.
was either 03 or 04.
Well, they
It
went,
was
but
their
they
last
went
year.
after that. They went world class, and just kind of they hung around. They were kind of in that 10 to 15 range.
Yeah.
But yeah, that open class year, they just dominated, and it was a good show. It was a really really good show. I think Desert Winds or Desert of the Winds or Wind of the Desert, or some with deserts and winds. I don't know, but it was a cool show. Nonetheless, it was a long time ago. I've slept since then. So several of them, I really think for sure BDB and Vanguard Cadets and Spartans, Gold and Guardians can also pull it off as well. So, all right. We had a question for Zach specifically. Question was from Ethan Smith.
That
Will
was
Zach cry if Boston wins?
Yes.
Zach?
And
Yes,
I'll
he will
also
cry
cry if
if
they
Boston
don't
wins.
win because that means BD probably won. So
I'm just saying if you cry,
There you go. So
I am leaving you
I'm telling
in
you,
Lucas Oil. You can find your own way home.
I might
he
stream.
might. I ain't
I
gonna
might
lie.
stream. If I win.
Listen, you're gonna be on the second. You're gonna be on the second row, maybe
I'll
third row,
climb up
depending
on
on which seat you pick.
I'm gonna pull a Spartacus and push the drum major off, and we're in the encore.
See, this is wild. This is wild. This is.
Who-
This is I don't know who
Everybody-
that
Aren't you on the
guy is.
podcast with him? I don't know
You
what
see
you're
this
talking about. That's a
You see
different
the guy
guy.
that just pushed the
Hey,
drum?
he's got
Yeah.
that.
No,
That's really
not him. Not that dude.
I have never
He's got
seen
the
him
same shirt
before.
as you.
That was
Yeah,
that was Zach with an
They
H.
probably-
I think that dude had a K on his name. I don't. It was not. So, and then we had. Yeah.
I hope they
We did
arrest
have a Twitter question from Intermission Drum and Bugle Corps asking why do they always get pulled out whenever shows or things. My thought is, here's the thing. Sometimes, and I think this is a logistic thing. Sometimes at some shows, they get more than the 17-minute time slot that all the other corps get. So I think what they do is they take I'm trying to use a big word. They
average.
take the total amount of time, because I can't think of the word. Not necessarily
Composite, there
average.
you
The
go.
combined composite. That was the word I was trying to think of. The composite time that they've had throughout the season, and like, you know what? They've had a couple of extra shows. We're just going to pull them for this show, because intermission brings the heat every single week. Weekend, show in, show out. They are bringing it. So I think to keep the competitive balance fair, I think they're just like, you know what, we're going to let them.
I have an opinion for
we're
them
gonna pull
too.
them
I think
from
it
the
might
show
be
this
too
time.
many electronics. When it's raining too much, too much on the field. That's a safety for the hazard for the fans and the field conditions. You can't be having too many electronics out there. Now it's a great show. They do fantastic, but they went too far blue coats. They went kinetic noise squared, and just it's too much
Oh God!
They've got 15 keytards. It's crazy.
No.
I'm not watching it.
I'm not.
I'm not watching it.
Tilted downside kinetic
Of America.
upside
Oh
down
boy.
of America metropolis.
So that's why I always love a good intermission show. I do. And I'm a fan of it. And my feelings are hurt every time I don't get to see it. So, we'll talk to DCI about that and make sure that you guys get the proper representation that you deserve because you guys deserve it. All right. So, we're going to try something a little bit different for us today. We're going to do some rapid fire stuff. And we have to make it rapid fire because we can talk about anything for like 7 days. So, basically, I don't know what we're going to call it. So I'm just going to say stocks up, stock down. So we're going to rapidly go down the cores and just say if their stocks on the rise or if their stocks on the fall or if they're just holding even right now. Going into this weekend of Allentown, which we'll talk about that just in a little bit. So rapid fire. How many of you guys want to do? 12, 15, 3? DCA? I don't know.
Let's do 15.
30.
That'd be easy.
All right. We'll
let's do that.
15? Okay. I think that's good. And all right. So we're just going to run down. I'm just going to use the ranking that we've been using from Drum Core ranking. Drum Core Down Under. If I can find it again. I told you I had 37 cat. All right. So, Blue Devils.
I'll go. Okay.
We'll go Will, Chris, and then that. Chris can go first. I don't care.
Here we go.
All right. Zach?
Stay.
Will? Yeah, I think they're holding as well.
Hold?
Yeah, I think they're holding as well.
Rising.
Boston.
Give me the new ending.
He wants the new ending.
Rise to the roof of Lucas Oil.
Give me the end. So rise.
Will.
I'll give them a rise. I think they got something.
I think they're rising as well. I just don't know how steep the climb is just yet. But it's going.
That too.
All right. Carolina Crown. Chris?
Falling.
Say it.
Yeah.
Wow. Zach?
Yep. Falling.
Will?
Staying.
I'm going to say falling, but it's a very, very, very shallow.
I'll say one thing. I don't think they're
just falling off the planet.
Tank. That's the only thing I'm worried about.
No.
Yeah.
They're not.
Yeah. So.
They've reached their ceiling
That's
year
why I
we were
think
at
they're staying.
Lucas Oil and our heads were touching the top of the roof. If we were so far up, that's where they're at. They're still there.
We're coats.
There ain't no more roof.
Blue coats.
Rising.
Blue coats, Chris. Rising. All right. Zach?
Rise.
Will? Okay. I'll say rise too.
I think they got.
I still think they've still got a couple of things up their sleeve, and not just a uniform change too. But they're going to do something else. They're going to do something else with those wheels.
Their uniform was pretty
we
cool.
didn't even talk about that, but it is what it is.
Stay.
Santa Clara Vanguard, Chris.
Stay.
Yep.
Yes, they might have just did what all.
Yeah, I love the new ending. I love the new
Yes,
ending. I just don't think there's enough, probably on the front end of that show that can propel them forward. So I'm going to say stay too. I don't think they're going to fall from where they are, but I think they're going to follow its place. Cadets.
Stay.
Yeah, I think they're holding.
Stay.
I don't think they'll move up. I don't think they'll move down. I think they're comfortably 6 right now.
Rise up.
Blue Stars.
That's what I got. I just saw Hamilton last night, man. I got to throw it in there. So, yeah.
You did. You did.
Stay.
Yeah,
I think they're holding as well.
Yeah, because I'm wondering what do they add?
The reason why I'm saying rising is because if we get to night beat,
across.
that's why. We'll talk about.
Yeah.
Rising.
All right. Cavaliers.
It's rising. I'm telling you.
Zach.
I think it's holding.
Well,
I'm gonna say stay because because a part of me still is like they still got to clean what they got. So if they add, it's gonna be great. But I think there's some spots they still got to clean because the show's too good to just not.
I think they're holding. They just got some kinks they need to work out.
Stay.
Phantom Regiment.
Yeah.
Yeah, holding.
Yes.
Holding as well. But don't be afraid. Don't be shocked if they fall because
At the
Mandarins.
moment, I want to say falling, but that can change. But at the moment, they're falling, I think.
Holding.
That,
I'm gonna say they're holding right now, barely.
Will. Rapid fire. What you get?
I'm gonna say fall.
Um,
I would say fall.
Falling slightly.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
It's
I
very
wouldn't worry,
very little,
but I think they're falling just a little bit. All right. Sorry, trying to open tabs here. Mandarins, Blue
Stay.
Knights.
I'm going to say stay for now.
Falling.
stay. Stay.
I would have said holding.
I
but
want to say
recent
falling,
events
but
have me seeing they're falling a little bit.
I'll talk about that in a second. Yes.
All right.
Rise.
Crossman.
I think they're holding.
William.
I
I
think stay.
think they're holding as well.
That's definitely
Colts.
rising.
Yeah.
Yep, rising.
Rising as well.
Right.
They're making that. I think they smell finals and they want to make sure they're there.
I'm going to say
Troopers.
I'm going to say stay for the moment. Yeah.
They're rising, but it's not going to make a difference in terms of overall placement. They're getting better, and they will be better, but it's not going to affect their placement. It's too big of a gap.
Yeah, I'm gonna give them a slight rise, even though they just came back or they had COVID issues, whatever. I'm gonna give them a slight.
Yeah, I agree with Zach. They are rising. I don't know if it's going to be enough to make a splash in anything. Yeah,
like a huge
all right. And then so number 15 will be Madison Scouts.
Stay for now.
Hold.
Yeah, it's a hold. It's a stay. I think they'll just be clean, but it'll lay in that pocket.
All right, and I think they're holding. I like what they're doing. I like the changes that they're making, but it's they are what they are, and it's not a bad thing. This is where we are in this competitive season. So yeah. So that's just a quick synopsis of what we think is going on right now. So, all right, really quickly, our one to watch, Zach. Who is it? What is it? Where are we going?
Oh, yeah. So for our one to watch this week, we're going to be focusing on...
You forgot that was your segment, didn't you?
No, I thought we were going to steal it again. We're going to be focusing on the DCI Eastern Classic, I think is what it's called, up in Allentown, Pennsylvania. This is a 2-night event, so half the groups are going on, I think, Friday, another half on Saturday. So yeah, that's the biggest. These last 3 weeks have been heavy hitters. San Antonio, Atlanta, and then next week's Allentown, and then that's it. So, yep, it's the big one for this week. So, Allentown, DCI Eastern Classic, Friday and Saturday. Good luck to all those
All right.
participating.
And if you're not aware how they do that is once they take the scores from this weekend or rank them, and then they split them in half. And the top, I think all the odds go to one show. All the odd rank folks go to one show, and the even rank groups go to the other night.
Mhm.
So looking at the what day is this one? Saturday show, because that's the one I have it pulled up right now. The lineup, this is not the schedule, this is just who's going to be there. Blue Stars, Cadets, Crown, Cavaliers, Crossmen, Genesis, Intermission, Jersey Surf, Madison Scouts, Pacific Crest, the Reading Buccaneers is going to be there, Santa Clara Vanguard, Troopers, and Sonus Brass Theater. So we're going to be looking to see probably how Crown and Vanguard kind of go head to head there. Your more intriguing matchups are going to be your, Blue Stars, Cadets, Cavi, Crossman type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be trying to figure out who's going to be ending up there where. And then on the 5th, any thoughts about that while I look this up?
I say I'm ready to talk about
Right,
what has transpired during this recording.
All right. Tonight.
Y'all,
Okay. Well, all right. Go ahead.
Blue Knights at the moment. Blue Knights are, if you go by this, are out of finals right now. Colts came in 6th at Night Beats. Crossman came in 7th, and Blue Knights came in 8th. Now, it is close, very close, with Colts at an 83.5 and Crossman at an 83.05, and then Blue Knights are at 82.425. So it's there, but it's going to be interesting with that. The other one that I was talking about when we talk about stocks rising and falling is the Cadets were 4th. Now, Blue Devils and Crown did not perform, did not get scored tonight. So, with that.
Right.
Yeah, so Cadets came in 4th with an 88.7. The Cavaliers came in 5th with an 87.55. So, why I said Blue Stars is if Blue Stars have been beating Cavies, you got to put them somewhere in the middle there, and if they were performed where that would have shook out there, but I don't know, that's interesting to me. That's yep.
It gets hard sometimes to compare it.
Yep.
From show to show, and especially like today, like beating Crown didn't even perform, but it makes you wonder. It's like, okay, what if everybody was there? How would this have shaken out? Would it still been the same, or did somebody have a bad night? Because we talked about bad nights, like in percussion, like when Boston won, SCV just won today. So after Boston just won the last show. So, yeah, and Boston was 3rd in drums after Blue Coats won the day before that. So Blue Coats won, Boston turns around, win. Now SCV's back on top. So when we were talking about those content scores and achievement scores, those people who were like, "Well, SCV just had a bad night." SCV just had a bad night because look at the scores.
I will say also,
it's
what's interesting. You talk about the Cadets,
crazy,
Blue Stars, and Cavies area.
They
all perform on Saturday at Allentown. Mandarins is on Thursday.
Mandarins, where they at?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Friday, sorry. I said Thursday, sorry. Friday. They're on Friday.
Wait, Friday?
But, I mean, that's
okay.
Gonna be interesting, man. I'm telling you.
Woo!
Oh, me.
Wait a minute.
I'm going to have to take extra blood pressure medicine.
Just throwing out there, too. We talked about this before we recorded, but if you guys don't follow Jeff Griffith on Twitter, I think it's at Jeff Griffith 20 underscore at Jeff underscore Griffith 21. He is a social design for DCI. He put a very interesting stat. Now we got to take that with a huge grain of salt with BD and Crown not performing tonight. But he said since 2014, whoever won this show went on to win Worlds. So, as he said, the only DCI Tour event at which the winner has ended up being the world champion every year since 2014. Now, like I said, you take it with a huge grain of salt because BD did not perform, so Boston gets the nod there as the winner. So, little thing to chew on and think about as we go through there. I don't know if it's going to hold up this year. We'll see. I don't know. We might make Zach cry if that's the truth. So, but
It's gonna happen.
yep,
Yes, Jeff
a lot of good
underscore
little
Griffith
tidbits and
21.
facts and
That
stats
is,
and stuff like that. So, shout out to him for doing some good work.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
it could have just been an off night for a lot of cores today. See some scores from Atlanta to here. Some groups went back down in scores. Not a lot, about 0.0 something.
And don't discount the fact that Blue Coats is only 8/10 behind Boston.
that's the other thing too.
8 tenths behind Boston. I noticed that was one of the first things I noticed as well. So it's like, okay, it's going to come down to, like some of our good friends say, it's
Y'all
like
want a parody. Here's a parody.
and who's going to be
Here we go.
consistent through those 3
I
nights.
love it too, man.
Oh, I'm loving it. I'm here for it.
I am here for every single
Like,
bit of it.
yeah, it's just going to make everything much more enjoyable to watch.
Because I'm
Literally.
I'm gonna be so stressed out. I don't have no stock in any of these groups, but I'm gonna be stressed out for everybody out there at retreat because that's just how I am.
it's going to be pins and needles because you know how they like
especially
to announce folks.
I remember distinctly
Oh
when
man, yes.
Blue Devils and Blue Coats were fighting for 1 and 2, and he was like,
Yeah. Oh, they
in second place,
they was
the Blue. 3 days later, I'm like, I'm back at home.
Yeah.
Announced the second.
Y'all, I hope Colts. I hope it happens, man. Gosh, I want it to happen so bad. Like, I feel bad for another core being left out, but I mean, I want it to happen.
Listen,
It's got to happen. Somebody's got.
we all like that underdog story. I mean, when Mandarins broke in the top 12, everybody was excited. When the Troopers made their return back to finals with the Infinity Core year, like we love to see that underdog break into whether it's the top 12 or the top 6 or the top 3. It's just a fun story, and you just like to see those guys do that. So, and like I said, this is shaping up to be. You got races everywhere. You got a top 4 race. You got a 6 through 10 race. You got a 11 through 14, 15 race.
I will say this:
like it's
ridiculous.
No.
When has that usually been? That?
And when has that? When has that?
Exactly.
When has that been that? And when have we cared? When have we cared who's finished 15th?
I will say the hardest job.
Such a great season.
Job is going to be that.
I hope everybody's realizing this.
It's insane.
Because if you think about it, I'm not just talking about finals, but wherever you place a lot of these cores, going finals night, that's going to do a lot of, I don't know, I won't say damage, but it's going to decide some things. If you talk about the past, like we have seen it happen where people jump each other from semis to finals, but I mean, that judging on that semifinals day is going to be the toughest job to do, because I don't say you have to get it right, but you got to get it close, and it's going to be interesting. So
they better get it right.
Can't be in that box. Can't be up there scared. better
Put that number
do what you're
down.
supposed
Don't
to
matter
do
whose
your
name's
job.
in
Don't be
front
up
of
there
it. You gotta
scared.
put that number down.
Yep.
If somebody come
Yep.
with it, they come with it. Give it to them. That's how I look at things. It's like, I don't care what your name say.
You were
If
dirty.
you didn't
were
bring
dirty.
it, I'm sorry for you.
So yeah, fantastic season. So, as always, like, comment, subscribe, share, catch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. I think that's where we're at right now. Who knows where we'll be next time? I mean, apparently adding to Instagram is only a click of a button. So I don't know. But we got that going on. So keep us posted. Leave comments. What do you think? Do you agree with the things that we're talking about or saying?
Yeah.
Some great questions this week.
Yeah. I mean, y'all almost made the episode for us, basically. But
yes,
we do. It makes it more fun for us that we know that people are watching and listening and intent, and we, day by day we're growing. I'd like to go ahead and thank you guys for over 200 folks on Facebook, over 50 subscribers on YouTube, over 50 followers on Twitter. We appreciate everything because, like I said, we're just four random dudes just talking about drum corps, and we're just happy to record it. And you guys are showing that you appreciate it, and we're going to try to continue to give you good quality content throughout the whole year, not even just during DCI season, but we got some plans for after the DCI season's over with to tide us over until winter season going on and things of that nature. So we still got lots of stuff going. So all the support that you can give us is very appreciative and all that good stuff. And like I said, there are plenty. I know one of the cool things for me with doing this is the DCI community, especially on Twitter.
Really
that we've and we're seeing a lot of people share ideas and talk about things, and that's why we want to shout them out on here because you should know about those guys too, because it's such a niche world. A small population of people know about this thing called drum corps or the pageantry arts in general, but there's a lot of people doing things and talking about it. So keep your eyes open, and not only just for us, but for a lot of other folks too. So, because this is a cool thing, it really is. So, any closing remarks, gentlemen?
I can't wait. Saturday's gonna be awesome.
Eat 'em up, Boston.
Let's do it. Blue Stars, come on.
That okay.
Right.
You're gonna have to keep him from the Suvi booth. What about you, Zach?
I will be the conductor of the Colts train from now on. So,
all right.
I'm on board, y'all.
Hype train.
Let's do
it. Will?
I am just in general. I'm laughing at this.
Y'all need to do.
It has been my entertainment this whole season to see all this bounce around.
We're behind on some.
I love it.
Yep.
A literal just perk talk. We may not even have to do a video reaction, just a reaction to like everything that's going on. So we might knock a couple out this week just so we can get back in it. Last week was kind of busy with being camp and such. So yeah, but I agree with everything these guys are saying. I'm really enjoying the season. My heart is pulling for Blue. That show has a special place for me right now. I really, really enjoy it. But I'm enjoying everybody. So that is what that is. So with that being said, this concludes episode 7 of On the Back Hash. For Will and Chris and Zach, my name is Cedric, and hope you guys enjoy the DCI week. And as always, out.